I'm with Nancy Novak, and we're here in beautiful California right now. Nancy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Peggy. It's great to be here.
So, Nancy, let's talk a little bit what you've been doing. You are an industry veteran. You've had great opportunities to be in construction, and now you're with Above Glass Ceilings, but you're doing so much right now. And we've been talking about that women in construction are really not involved as much as they should be. I think the number right now when we look at is about 9.1%. That's really not enough women in the industry. What do we need to do to get more women involved in this industry?
Well, it's interesting because I've been studying this for quite a few years, and you're right. It's just right around that 10% mark when it comes to women in operations and especially in management positions. So we've done a pretty good job of trying to fill that pipeline and recruit women into the business and get the excitement there. Where we're not doing so well is keeping, promoting, and advancing them in the industry into leadership positions. And that's where I think the industry needs to change a little bit, and we need to really study some of the biases that happen even with the best of intentions. And once we understand those, I think we're going to make some improvements.
Do you think we need to be both genders, men and women need to get actively involved so that we can get more women involved?
Absolutely. And what I find fascinating is when I speak all over the country, I have men and women in my audiences, and when I talk about women in the business, the men are just as concerned as the women are. Right now we are facing a global talent war and a shortage of skilled labor, and trust me, the men who own these businesses want the women to stay and advance as much as we do.
What are we doing as an industry as a whole? Is the construction industry on a growth mode right now, or do we have to do a lot more just in general as an industry as a whole?
The construction industry is definitely on a growth mode right now. I mean, they're moving fast. As a whole, when it comes to solving the skilled labor problem, we need to change how we do work. We need to start getting more innovative. We need to start doing offsite manufacturing. We need to start looking at more modern technologies and modern methods of construction to attract that talent and to replenish our skilled trades.
Part of the challenge we have is we don't think globally. Sometimes we just think locally. What do we need to do about that?
Well, again, so globally, when you look at some of the emerging markets around the world, you'll see that these modern methods of construction are being used because they don't have the same infrastructure and materials and skilled labor force that we do. So we can learn from them, honestly, and to make the work possible over there, we're having to do things that we don't necessarily have to do here, but we should be doing.
Is part of that because we have too many disparate systems, and that's our problem right now? We have to do too many rekeying manual things, and that's part of the things that we talk about, why we've started the Baseline to Build On initiative.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of it, there's a lot of workarounds in order to go from, the architect, engineering, and construction phases. And if we can get down to a single platform where we're more fluid and we're able to communicate in a much more efficient way, then I think you're going to see a lot more willingness to move the needle on the innovation.
What do you think is the greatest achievement this industry has had over the years that you think has been a success for the industry as a whole?
Well, I mean, definitely, moving the design into a BIM model has been a huge achievement. Even though we only use a fraction of it, and we should use more of it, and there's other dimensions that we could be tapping into, I think that's probably the single biggest thing that's changed the industry in my career.
Do you think, though, since 10 years since we started using BIM, we've maximized it, or there's still a lot more that we could do with that?
Oh, we've barely scratched the surface with it. There's still a lot more we can do with it. Like I said, there's many more dimensions to it, and the standardization of how we use it is something that I think is critical for us to be able to leverage that across the industry.
How about technology in general? When you look at it right now, technology is really a critical success opportunity for the industry. Are you seeing the industry taking advantage of it, or we still have so much more to do there as well?
I mean, I do see a lot of technology popping up all over the place, and I do think we're taking advantage of it, but I don't think that we're really leveraging the advantage that we're taking because everybody's kind of competing with each other, and they're kind of working against each other to kind of, I don't know, to get a monopoly, so to speak, on certain processes. And so I feel like in order to really move the industry in a meaningful way, we have to start leveraging each other and communicating better and getting succinct on our technology.
I think one of the interesting things that we've seen in this industry is that women have taken a leading role in advancing technology in construction. You've been a part of that, a Women in Construction Award, and we honor some of those here at the Technology Day. How have you seen that in some of the things that you're doing and seeing women advancing?
Oh yeah, I definitely see women advancing in technology. I mean, it's interesting because based on whether you're in the architect, engineering, or construction role, technology is an area where women excel, and they can show their skills in that area without the same kind of intimidation you can get sometimes just in the field, right? So yeah, these women are doing great things. They're on social media. They're promoting, what they're learning. They're sharing with each other, and I really feel like this is an area that women could. It could definitely lead to a larger ratio of women in our business.
We've got just a little bit more time, but before we go, talk about what you're doing with Above Glass Ceilings.
So at Above Glass Ceilings, we have a board of women who are construction professionals, and the whole idea behind this was, again, that leveraging point about trying to influence the advancement of women, not just in construction, but really focused on the STEM trades, because that's where we see this crisis, and we feel like if you can advance and promote women around the world, you're going to solve lots of problems economically and for the welfare of just the well-being of women and children and men everywhere. Every time you solve a problem for women, in other words, an issue where we are struggling with life balance, we solve the same problem for the men. And we see that in every industry. So we've learned a lot, and we're looking at this thinking, hey, why don't we use what we know how to do really well, which is build stuff, and try to leverage that, because construction touches every life and every industry in profound ways, and try to really help the advancement of women.
Nancy, thank you so much for being with us.
You're very welcome. It's great to be here.
All right, well, that's someone you should know, and we've taken it on the road right here in California.